Hello everyone, this is Dan. This is episode 2 of Android Power User. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Tasker and Android automation. And what Tasker is it's basically an essential app for Android Power User. Um, it has full automation of Android. You can basically make your device do anything you want. You can control your computer. You can have the computer control your Android device. You can turn on light switches. You can turn on anything you want, humidifiers, whatever. Here I have in my room, all automatically. So here I have in my room a light switch on my desk nightstand over here, and I have Nova Launcher Pro to execute a task or task, which is executed as a shortcut. If I swipe up on this icon here, you see swipe action equals jammed, and jammed is a tasker app I've made. The name doesn't mean anything, but the task behind the name does this, and I'll show you here. And it's, I'll just swipe up. Might have missed that. I did. I'll swipe up here. My light turns on. I want to turn it off. I do the same thing. And this is all done with Tasker. Now, Tasker makes it so powerful is not only can it access all the sensors on your device, but you can also have plugins to add extra functionality. So again, you could drive up in your driveway and have that light automatically turn on, or any other variation. It really is a programming language that gives you a ton of functionality because you can basically program your device to do anything all through a graphical user interface, which I don't say that in a bad way. This is very good. It's a very good thing. Um, so here, this is a ton of Tasker plugins. So you can add extra functionality to Tasker. Through plugins. So here is a plugin called Auto Input, and this will make it so you can automatically press buttons on Android. So let's say I want to open the YouTube app. It will automatically press the subscription panel, so I don't have to see the What's Hot panel, which is really just an advertisement panel. Okay, so it's not showing now, but I have it also set up to automatically on TeamViewer go ahead and log into my computer. So I press TeamViewer once. Alright, well it does not want to work when I'm recording video, but it will automatically log in, so you can automatically do button presses. So I'll go ahead and launch Tasker and basically show you what it is. I'll go through some of my tasks here. So basically, Tasker, you have an event, a trigger, and then an action based on that trigger. So here, so basically you don't need user input. So, let's say I want to turn on that light. Now, how would I do that? Well, the task here is over here, and it's going to be jammed. I don't name these good, I just name these easy and fast. Jammed. Here we are. And now it's actually not that confusing. So here we have RM plugin is the command to turn on the smart switch, which is a power outlet switch that you can turn on and off, like if you had an extension cord and you flip the switch on or off. It's a smart switch $12 on eBay, $13 on eBay. Um, and there's a plugin for it. And so the plugin is when I press this button, it either sends the off command or it sends the on command. Right here. This is the RM plugin. Now, what I've used with Tasker is I've just set up a simple if-else, which means it basically just toggles back and forth. So when I switch it up, let me go ahead and show you here. So if I trigger this light, it'll toggle. So the top one will become active, now it's red, and then the bottom one will become inactive because then that will be green. Red. So let me go and turn it on here. You can see it toggled, sent the command, the light turned on. Now, this side it's ready to toggle, so I flip the switch, and it turns off. So this is things Tasker can do, and it's actually not that hard. So let me go to my profiles here and find an example. So this is like an event. What would trigger an action? So, like, let's say I drove into my driveway, and that's my location event, and the action would be that my phone beeps and says, "You're in your driveway." And this is all very easy to do with Tasker. So, so let's say I shut down the device, so that's an event. The device shutting down is an event. So as it's shutting down, when the shutdown command goes across the device, Tasker will see that and do something. Now what did I have it set to do? I don't remember. Okay. Let's try one like boot. That would make more sense. So whenever my device boots, it's going to do, and then task, which is an action. So when I boot my device, I get a little pop-up box that says your device is in airplane mode. And I have to either tap it if I want to use my phone. But I don't want to do that because it takes an extra tap that I have to do. So what I do is when my device boots, I have Tasker, so booting is the event. So once Tasker sees that the device is booted, it waits 4 seconds and then simulates a press of the Android back button, which saves the press that I would have pressed and gets rid of that airplane mode dialog box. There's really almost limitless of what you can do. Now, Tasker is $3, but you can pirate it. Tasker, you can make your own apps. And just by the way, I haven't actually pirated Tasker. I've paid for it twice. But I'm not going to tell you about an app that you have to pay for because then it becomes an advertisement. Let's see another one here. Yes. Here we have my, I have a lot of simulated button presses. So here we have my team viewer. So, that's not the one I want. Yeah, no, this will work. So, when I launch TeamViewer, it has the box that says my computers. Let me go ahead and watch TeamViewer here. Okay, so when I launch TeamViewer, you see I have to do an extra click to see my computers because I have to open a folder. Now, I want that to be automatic so I don't have to do that extra tap every time I open TeamViewer. So if I have to do it manually, I'd have to tap it. But to make Tasker do that for me, I can have the event it sees it sees the event is TeamViewer is launched. Now I have That is TeamViewer. I've changed the icon, but it is TeamViewer. So when it sees that I've opened TeamViewer, it performs this task, which is using the auto input plugin to find the text that says my computers, and it's going to click that text and automatically open that folder, and that's triggered by TeamViewer opening. So here we have the events panel, or the profiles panel, and then I'll go over here to the task panel, and we'll go ahead and find that. Again, I don't name these anything. It's just like if you're using Photoshop or something and you will have to click edit, and you just name it test 1, test 1, testy 122. It's not, they're not named for anything. So here we have, I'm looking for heset. Here we are. So you can see heset is in the task, and this is what it does. It automatically clicks that and opens that folder. So these are some of the things you can do with Tasker to automate anything that's really annoying. Tasker, again, is very powerful. It can start your camera, it can start taking video, it can start taking photos, it can send location, it can do a lot. And so it's basically a fundamental feature of Android that makes Android much better than
you're in location
iPhone. So here we have and that was Tasker, by the way, just speaking. So here we have I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So here we have, yeah, Tasker, and you can basically do anything you want. So you can have a question like how would I automatically restart my computer when it's 12 o'clock. And not your phone, by the way, your computer. So what you would do with Tasker is you would open Tasker, then you would go to, I'm going to walk you through creating one of these now. You go to your profile, so this is the trigger or the event. So you want the trigger or event to be a time event, so that'd be 12 o'clock. So you would go to add, and then you'd go to time, and you would go to, and there's multiple ways to do this, so this will work. You would go between 12 p.m. and 12:01 p.m. and then, or you would 12 to 12 p.m. and then you would cancel. Okay, and now you need to add a task. So what happens at 12 p.m.? So now you have, okay, we have 12 p.m. Something happens at 12 p.m. But what happens at 12 p.m.? Now we tell it what to do at 12 p.m. So now that it says, okay, you've registered 12 p.m. to do something, now what does it do? So we say new task, and we're just going to give it a gobbledygook name here. Okay, then we press the plus button here, and now to restart our computer, this isn't built into the Android phone, so we're going to need to use a plugin or another application that can be told to do something from Tasker. So we would just scroll down to our plugin menu here, and to reboot our computer, we would go ahead and use a application. The one I would use would be Unified Remote, and you would go ahead and click that, and then you press configure. And here is all the actions you can do based on what happens. So at 12 o'clock, I could have any of these things happen, and I would do remote action, and it's loading my remotes here. I would scroll down to what remote I want, and I think there's one called power. And this is why you see Tasker is so powerful, because it has access to all these things. And it also has variables and everything else. So it becomes very powerful. So you could have a variable that adds, 1 point to the variable every hour. And when that variable reaches 72 hours, it will say, hey, you need to eat more pizza or something, anything. Um, it's been 72 hours. We can have it say anything and then have it reset back down to 0 and then start counting every hour again. And once it reaches 72, it'll trigger that. But all these things can trigger anything. So let's keep going until we find power here. Here we go, power. And then we would want to choose the restart action. And I don't think we need a timeout. Oh, I see. Okay, we'll just give it 5. It doesn't matter. Then we would choose. Here we have my PC, which has the Unified installed on it, remote. And I would press next. And here we go, restart. Done. Now, this is our task ready, so when it reaches 12 o'clock, it will go ahead and send the restart command to that computer at that IP address. Now, to simulate 12 o'clock, I will simulate the task to show you that it works. So here, I will go ahead and open. I'll show you my computer. So, let's show you that it's on here. Right, so you can see my computer and you can see that it's on. Now, if we wanted to simulate 12 o'clock, we would just go ahead and trigger the task without the event or the trigger. So our trigger this time will just be that I'm manually triggering it. So I'll press play. And now it sent the command, and you can see Windows will shut down in less than a minute. And you will see the computer start to shut down. Or restarting me. So it's going through the restart process, shutting down the applications. It's shutting down my widgets. There you go. It's shutting down and it's going to restart, all based on Tasker, all based on a time event at 12 o'clock. Now this event could be anything, so this is what makes Tasker so powerful. Once you load all this stuff into your brain, okay, maybe that sounds a bad way of saying it, but once you are able to reference this stuff, it'll add power. So for a power user, I'm not saying everyone should know how to do this because some things are just toxic and waste your time. Linux, the biggest waste of time you could ever do, Linux. But for this, for Android, it is useful. Yes, so that is an GNU Linux, so what I'm really saying, desktop Linux. There's nothing wrong with Linux, but desktop Linux, waste of time. Okay, so, this is Tasker, and Tasker can also create scenes to bring up pop-up menus to give you options. So, how would I show you a scene? My clipboard. Alright, so sometimes you're using Android and you forget what's in your clipboard. So, I'm going to go ahead and copy some text to my clipboard here. Okay, so we have TeamViewer, Automation, and YouTube in our clipboard. Now let's see we forgot what was on our clipboard. So here we are going to trigger and tell Tasker we want to see what's on our clipboard. So here I press this button, and it says TeamViewer, Automation, and YouTube, and you can see this is dynamic as I will switch it up here. And our clipboard is different. And now Tasker will tell us what is different about our clipboard. And this is using a Tasker scene. So Tasker can pop up a scene that's either you could do stuff behind it, or you can have buttons. So you could, it's not that you'd want to, but you could make a game with Tasker using variables, images, and everything else, and buttons, and have all the logic go in the background. So Tasker is a very, very, very powerful Android application, and it's one of the main applications included in the Android Power User, and this is why I have a whole video dedicated to it. Now, you could actually watch tutorial upon tutorial about Tasker. It's not forever. I've been using Tasker since December of 2014. So it's not impossible to learn like other things that it'll take your whole life. It's very powerful, but it's not super simple. Like it's not one click, but it is in a way once you know it. But it's not impossible to learn. So if you have any questions or any comments, go ahead and leave them below, and I'll respond. And I will make another episode of Android Power User later. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps.